Hi everyone, my name is Eric Schurter and I'm the product manager for the editor group, which is part of the create stage of the DevOps lifecycle here at GitLab. And I want to talk to you today about what we have planned for the 13.10 milestone. And I'll link to this planning issue in the video description so you can see more detail and click through to our release board where all the individual issues will be tracked. Please feel free to ask questions or leave feedback in those issues. I'd love to hear from you. I'll start by just going category by category and highlighting a few key issues though, starting with the Web IDE. And as I mentioned in the 13.9 kickoff, we are working to convert the Web IDE to use Editor Lite, which is our abstraction of the Monaco code editor, which is currently powering the Web IDE. And Editor Lite is our attempt to sort of unify around a standard code editing component that will allow us to have a more performant, more consistent, and more extensible code editing experience across GitLab. So we're wrapping that work up in 13.9, and in 13.10 we kind of just want to carry it over and finish up some performance improvement work as well as some small UX improvements. So you'll mostly see the performance improvements in the form of loading files in the Web IDE, especially large files. So keep a lookout for that, although you may or may not experience that depending on the files you're working with. Another sort of visible feature that we want to implement in 13.10 would be adding the ability to link to a single line of code within the Web IDE from outside the Web IDE, so that by appending the line of code to the end of a URL, you can open up the file in the Web IDE and it'll load and highlight that specific line item. I think this is going to be great for collaboration, for making code review a lot easier, and just overall make the experience of working in the Web IDE much nicer. So similarly, there's a couple quality of life bugs that we want to tackle. Highlighting a file when you open a merge request in the Web IDE currently, that connection can be lost and you can lose context there. We're working on that now and hope to bring that home in 13.10. And in the act of switching between the commit and edit tab, you can lose your open files. All the tabs on the top will close except the active one. So we're going to investigate that bug and try and prevent that from happening. Moving on to snippets, I want to talk about a similarly small but important UX improvement. So we introduced multi-file snippets several milestones ago. And right now, though, when you're looking at a list of snippets, you don't really have a sense of how many files might be contained within. So we're just going to add a small badge in the list view that shows how many files are inside that snippet. Most of them will have one, but we think this is going to be a great way to help provide context in that view and hopefully drive adoption of the multi-file snippet feature. Moving on to Wiki, and specifically our implementation of the rich text editor, which I've been talking about a little bit, and if you've watched our other YouTube videos, we have been researching for several months now. But this is an important milestone for us because this is the first milestone where we're going to be committing actual code to move forward the direction of that rich text editor, ostensibly for the static site editor, but actually the wiki is going to be our first target. It has a much more contained and easier to manage set of data. So we're going to try and build out a rich text editing experience within the wiki with the hopes of bringing the rich text editor to all markdown editing experiences throughout GitLab. So our first steps, though, are going to be creating the scaffolding and building that project in GitLab UI so that we can continue developing. We also have some cleanup and refactoring we need to do in the wiki project itself so that we can have it accept the rich text editor. But ultimately, what we're looking for is something where we can have, a more interactive, rich text editing experience and use that across all of GitLab. And so, we can have what looks like a markdown preview, but have it be editable. And we're still working on the final designs there, but more on that in the coming milestones. Switching gears to navigation and settings. So in 13.9, we were focused on adding the ability to search within a settings page, and I'm happy to tell you that we completed that work. It's currently behind a feature flag, but in 13.10 we'll be testing that, making sure that it meets our expectations, and we'll turn off that feature flag in 13.10, make it available for everyone. And also, when it comes to settings and navigation, the next larger effort that we want to tackle is simplifying the top navigation items. So right now we have the projects, groups, and more dropdowns. We've been doing a lot of research, and we've decided that consolidating those 3 items into a single menu is going to be the most impactful change that we can make to provide additional context around what's usually kind of lost within the more dropdown, which are instance level features. And we have 3 things that we're going to do for our MVC. First of all, we're going to combine them all into one menu. Second, we're going to change the logic around frequently visited, which actually frequently doesn't work and relies on local storage. So depending on if you clear your cache or switch browsers, it may be different. We're going to move that to recently visited, so it's a little more predictable and expected. And then we're going to investigate this the search here inside the menu. Right now, the results for a lot of times, at least within GitLab here, can be not the most relevant. So we're going to take a look and see if we can get those results a little more accurate. So those 3 things being our MVC, we probably almost certainly won't be able to deliver all of them to everybody in 13.10, but we will be starting to lay the foundation, and we will be working on that and have some more information in the next kickoff video. That's all I wanted to highlight today. Again, the planning issue is linked in the description, and I will see you next month. Thanks.